What's going on?
Guys! It's okay, he just wanted his machete back!
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Gallows Podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest news and information from the horror community. With me, as always, my amazing, badass, weird as hell co-host, which was an absolute virtue, Thomas Paxton. Say hello, Thomas.
Hello, guys. What up?
What up? Right? Right on. Excellent. First of all, let's just do this. We already have some call-outs I want to make in the chat. So we've got Charlie Thornblad's in the house. Charlie, what's up? Judy Amber Paxton is here. What's up, Judy? Enoch is here. Enoch Kenner. Welcome, dude. Right? Enoch doesn't really come in that often, actually. So that's kind of cool, right? No, that's fucking amazing that he's in here with us today. Love you, buddy. It's awesome to have you. We're going to be talking about this shit. For Enoch, because I know he's a newer viewer, pretty much. Enoch, man, if we're in here and we're shooting the shit and we're talking about things, and you either want to say, yeah, and to compound upon that, or, hey, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and correct us, we love all that stuff, regardless. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So by all means do that. And so what's going to happen today, we've got on the docket, first thing we'll check it out first, is Hereditary. So what we'll do is we'll watch the trailer for Hereditary. Once that's done, we'll come back in. We'll fucking start shooting the shit about it. We'll then rinse and repeat with Midsommar, our second film that we'll be talking about. And as I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you look at Tommy Boy, do you see his beautiful little wreath of garlanded flowers on top of his kitty cats? That's in the spirit of Midsommar. Thomas actually hasn't seen Midsommar, so I'll probably be carrying a great bit of the conversation. But I also love Thomas's insights when he's just hearing about movies in general. You know what I mean? That's always a huge benefit for the Gallows Podcast. I love it. And also, though, because I tried to join the club with him. Here's the thing, guys. So when I come in, can you guys see you guys can obviously see my headset. Why am I even asking you that? So my headset, okay? You see the nice little Darth Vader Red Bull shit going on, you guys? Like in the thing, okay? My headset is on backwards, so you can see it. Because normally, like with this particular headset, you have it on, and the lighting is like I guess on the back, on the side. So I mean, if people are coming up behind you to see you, they can see the lighting. But for me, it's like, well, I thought it was really cool to have the lighting for the fucking thing because Thomas always looks so fucking amazing when it comes to his stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
so I just figured I'd do this and wear them backwards and own the absurdity of me wearing it backwards. I actually think it's technologically fashionable because look at all the little buttons. It's fucking ridiculous on my face and my head. You know what I mean?
Gorgeous.
Oh, thanks, sweetie. Thank you so much. So from here, let's just do it, man. Let's just like jump in. We'll watch the trailer for Hereditary, and then we'll just start talking about it, get into it, fucking break it down. It's really cool too, because for Thomas today, it's fresh. Like you just got done watching it, right? So
yeah, I just got done watching.
Yeah,
it.
it's just like it. You just barely had that knife go into your soul and fucking tear you open, so you can feel the agony and weirdness that is this film. You know
and I have
mean?
lots of what serious fuck moments.
Oh, dude, this movie has so many what in the serious fuck moments. It's absolutely magnificent and astounding, and I love it. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We're going into the trailer. Here we go, guys. Oh my God, get ready to be disturbed.
Whee!
Come on, Peter. Here's your suit.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious. My mother was a very secretive and private woman. It's Grandma. You know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you. She was a very difficult woman, which maybe explains me.
I recognize you from your mother.
What?
Sometimes I swear I can feel them in the room.
Oh my God, what's that?
She isn't gone.
She had private rituals, private friends.
Who's gonna take care of me?
You don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die,
And she wasn't altogether there. At the end.
I don't like this. Dad, I don't like this.
What's happening? Peter! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Raise your house! Mom, what's happening? Make it stop! Make it stop!
I just don't want to put any more stress on my family.
All right, guys. So this movie, directed by Ari Aster, starring Toni Collette, Millie Shapiro, Gabriel Byrne. Excellent cast. I personally think that Toni Collette deserved like some kind of an award for this, and I don't think she ever really got it. An Oscar, something, man. The mother, because fuck, like just amazing, right? Her performance and the way she pulled that off. But I mean, where do we even start, Thomas? What the fuck? Let's start this thing. Do you have a way?
I feel like I want to start it with the very
Oh, fuck,
beginning
man.
of the movie,
Yes.
like the very first frame setting
Yeah.
is like us just staring out a window, and the film title kind of comes onto it. And at first, I wasn't sure where they were going with it, and then it literally pans to the right, goes to this little miniature house, which kind of
Yep.
fits in with Annie's professional career,
Mhm.
and then it zooms in, and all of a sudden we're seeing the boy on the bed, we're seeing the dad come in, we're seeing Steve come in and say hi to Peter,
Yeah.
and it just sort of zooms in and transitions right into the movie,
Right.
almost like we're outside the movie going into the movie. It's like a movieception moment kind of at the beginning.
No, exactly. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
And
you.
so,
You're on
like,
your own.
I found that was one of the things that really brought me in, because I was like going, wait a minute, what am I in for? And because I didn't watch any trailers to this.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, let's watch Hereditary. We have some people requesting us, review Hereditary. So I was like, all right, let's watch it. So
Yeah.
I came into this movie without any preconceived notions, nothing.
It was
And
great,
so I
actually.
So I just sort of dove into the madness, and was taken on this giant, weird, like, train of a journey. And
said.
that's where I would kind of start it, is saying that. And also one of my favorite parts of this movie, similar to how I said a while ago, Cop Car, the score. And
Oh yeah,
the
dude, absolutely.
sounds like
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, the daughter, like,
Yes.
yeah, we
And
go,
that just
guys.
builds tension.
Fucking just when you watch the movie, this will haunt you forever for the rest of your fucking natural born life. You will be like, oh my God, don't do that again, John. Don't do that again. Oh wait, really quick. So Rachel Gordon is here. Welcome back. We love you so much. We love all of you so much. It's so awesome, you guys. are
Hello,
returning.
Rachel.
Hello.
What up?
Love you so much. But yeah, dude. Oh, and then Rachel's like, I still need to finish watching it. Yes, you do. You can't.
Yeah, you
that's not a
do.
movie you want to like stop and then halfway in try to dive back in later. Like you've got to experience that thing start to finish, right? I mean,
Especially with the way it's structured. Like if she's only
Seriously.
halfway, then she just barely started getting into the big meat of the story. Because this movie is kind of interesting because it's like, and I say kind of interesting only because like I tend to be very vague sometimes, but
Yeah.
like it is kind of like a drama disguise, or a horror movie disguised as a drama. Like that's kind of how I'd see this movie, is like you have the first half of the movie as us learning about the family,
Yeah.
learning about them grieving, seeing, you know, them dealing with the fact that they have a tragic loss in the family right at the very, very beginning. Like they have like a text card at the beginning that kind of goes into like her disease and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
you have like the funeral, and then you have the family having like their day-to-day type of activities, kids playing guitar,
Yeah.
she's drawing, Annie's doing her normal stuff with her action figures, like where she's making the models and stuff like that. And then you've got, you know, Steve doing his thing. So you've got like the family doing their little day-to-day things, trying to just grieve and get through it, and all having an experience in different ways. And then about halfway through, things really start to twist and flip. And you go from knowing what's going on to being like, holy shit, the movie started again. And
Right.
like, so
Right.
she's halfway through. She needs to finish it.
Yeah, and there's the degradation of the whole family thing too, like the whole family dynamic. And as you're watching and as this movie progresses, just how that dynamic crumbles,
Yeah,
inevitably crumbles, and just all the wrong things start happening, and you're just like hoping, like for me, because I tend to be relatively positive. I was like, fuck, dude, this family's going through so much hardship and pain, and just they're not coming back from it. This is going to be an absolute tragedy to watch, and you're just going to have to kind of deal with it and experience it, which makes it one of the darker horror films out there, basically. You know what I mean? The big thing I was going to say back to it, because I don't want to digress from it yet, the score is amazing. Absolutely. Especially not just the sound effects, or not just the little like nuances that the actors put into stuff, but just the overall score. There were times, dude, where it's not even music, okay? And I was actually sitting with my good buddy JT, right? And my good buddy JT, roommate, okay, we've known each other for years. Love you, JT. Mwah, okay? Yeah, hopefully he watches this. He'll be like, oh my God, I got called out. Oh shit. But yeah, so we're watching it, and all of a sudden I turned to him and I'm like, is there something wrong with the sound? Like it sounds weird, dude. Do you guys hear like a hum going on? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, dude, I can hear it though. And so we kept watching, and then what ultimately happened was it was like sub-layers of sound to intentionally put into the score of the movie to unsettle you. Because I was like feeling agitated by it and anxious while watching it. And then in scenes, it would be there and it would go away. And then it would come back later, the exact same sound. But it wasn't a technical issue with the movie. It was built in to create that sort of a tension. It was really clever of them to fucking do that, dude. Because I was like, that's ingenious. Like they have musical segments that are really awesome and just kind of abstract and really off-key, which works really well, like discordant, which works well with a horror movie. But those undertones, the way Ari Aster kind of put that in and said, yeah, we're going to fuck with you on a very auditory level, very subtle auditory level. It did. And it added to it. And going back and looking at repeat viewings, I'm like, that was brilliant, man, that they did that, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So-
I would add to that and say that I was listening to the movie with headphones, like Skull Candy earbuds. And
Nice.
so like I wasn't using like a TV stereo system or anything. So like I had like the things like similar to when you're listening to music and you hear like new Tool album or something like that, and you hear all the auditory stuff, the layering that they put in there.
Yeah.
I really like how Ari took and made it to where not only is the movie a horror movie, you know, the horror drama disguised as horror or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Like they made it to where it was almost like you could listen to it like a soundtrack with the way that the audio was, and they have like a nice little build up. and then crescendo, build up, and like a bunch of mini one of those. And it wasn't like jump scares that were thrown in for cheap jump scares or anything like that. It was like there was a moment where she's sitting there and she's going through all of her mother's stuff in the boxes, like books, things like that, knickknacks. Yeah. And she looks over and she sees like a weird little ghost image of her mom, and she's not sure what she's looking at, and she looks away from it and goes, what? And then like, you know, and she's very logical, very rational. She brings that up a couple times when she's talking to Steve, her husband. And so for this, it's like a total uprooting of her entire, like the way she sees the world. Yeah. And so when she sees her mom there, she's like, what the fuck did I just see? And she looks over and mom's gone, but there isn't like a jump scare. It was more like a kind of like a natural progression of like your reaction to, say, if you like were walking into your bedroom and going through some of your lost loved one stuff, and then you look up and you think you see your loved one, and you're like, the fuck was that? And then like as the movie progressed, there was more moments throughout the movie where the thing would build up. It wasn't like a booming bomb or like a blah, like over exaggerated. It did like
have those weird moments though. Like it did have some of those, which worked to their credit, but the subtlety that you're talking about is pretty impressive. So subtle, and I was just enraptured. Yeah. Amber, of course, a couple of times when she's, you know, when she zones in on a video game, she zones in. But she looked over and she's like, "Are you okay, babe?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is gonna. Oh my god, what the fuck?" And then I was like, "He's gonna." And then she's just like, "You're really like into this." The whole movie. And I was just like, going, I believe it, Amber. It was like I was looking at going, I am so involved in this movie with the sounds and the audio alone. Yeah. Like, Toni Collette as Annie just killed it. Like between the emotions, like her dealing with the later on tragedy in the movie. Dude, speaking of that, okay, really. Oh, I got to chime in. So the Toni Collette, because I'm gushing over Toni Collette in this. Okay, her character Annie is the mother. Okay, oh my god. So what happens basically is there is the daughter who played by Millie Shapiro, who's Charlie. That's the one. She's a disabled girl. Okay. I'm not sure like what the disability is, but you can tell that it's something that, you know, it's just a very challenging condition for her to be in. But she does these sounds. Okay. Yep. And it's kind of like her nuance, you know, for her character. Just, I guess it's just part of her disability, like a symptomatic of that, right? But throughout the movie, she's doing that sound, and it's just almost like a tick where she just does it, and she's not really conscious of the fact that she's right. But her character and what it brought to that character specifically, the way that she pulls off that role, it was unnerving. It was brilliant. I mean, it was an amazing fucking performance all the way around, and in conjunction with Toni Collette, because they then have that dynamic, right? Daughter, daughter, mother kind of a thing. When the shit hits and, when Charlie dies, because it happens. Okay. When Charlie dies, dude, and Toni Collette, her character has to go through that grief. That is some of the most chilling fucking acting performance I've ever seen. Like, seriously, man. Like, it fucked with me for days. When she's like, I just don't want to be alive. She's like, I don't want to be alive anymore. Oh my God, it's too much. She's on the floor just reeling, and fucking Gabriel Byrne's character is just trying to console her, right? It was just powerful, dude. Like, it was just amazing. You know what I mean?
I have to say, I'll add to that my own personal experience. 2 years ago, my mom lost her dad, and exactly how she reacted to that, like reacted to her daughter's death, like I was getting massive flashbacks, because that's exactly what my mom reacted. Like, she was just on the ground, fetal position, screaming. And so when I was watching it, I was like watching that scene where like, you know, Peter's going through his depression, and he's like realizes what happened, and he just can't even talk. Like, he's just going through the motions, goes to bed, and then waits for his mom to inevitably find the body. And then he's wondering what's going to happen. And she's just screaming endlessly into the night. And like the way Ari just positioned the camera and did like the pans and showed him in the hallway, just kind of, you know, his face is all shadowed. And then the camera moves back left and it shows her, you know, leaning on the ground. The way that was done was just so goddamn authentic. Like, I was chilled. I was like going, I've dealt with this before. Not in this exact sense, but I've dealt with this. Not in that exact context, but the feelings, the vibe, like how she reacted, the very natural way that she reacted to, you know, the idea of losing her daughter that way. Especially the scene where her daughter dies. Like, I was like watching that and going, the fuck? And then like I saw him standing there, and he's like sitting there trying to stay calm while he's looking, his hands are on the steering wheel, and he realizes what happened, and suddenly all you see is just him crying, like tears are rolling down his face, and I'm just like watching this, and I'm like, this
okay,
has got
so
to be one of those tragic horror movies I've ever seen.
Let's do this, man. Let's go here. So basically, when we're talking about the scenes, right?
Yeah.
So Alex Wolff, who plays Peter, who plays the brother.
Yeah.
Okay. He goes to a party. He and his mother have kind of a little, like a tiffy thing where he wants to go to the party. This is going to describe the death. Okay. So we're going here. Let's just fucking go here because this is one of the incredible parts of the movie, right? It's just incredible in the sense that it's disturbing, and that's where it really takes it to the horror because of how grounded and just nuts it is, right?
Just trying not to do spoilers, but we'll do it.
Fuck it. Well, yeah, we're beyond that, right? Because Hereditary's been out forever now. So essentially, he goes to a party. His mother was like, "Okay, you know what? Have you asked Charlie if she wants to go?" And he's like, "Ah, fuck," because he's a high schooler, right? And he's like, "No, I don't really want to. I don't know if she wants to go." And the mother's like, "Well, have you asked?" And they go through that whole bullshit thing, right? Ultimately, he has to take his fucking disabled sister to this high school party. Okay, so they go to the high school party. Peter has a tendency to smoke a lot of marijuanas, right? So he goes up, tries to go into the room, and do his thing with all of his friends. Charlie, meanwhile, is downstairs. Charlie has a fucking allergic reaction to, what is it, like nuts? I think it's nuts, right?
Yeah. She goes anaphylactic shock. She needed her EpiPen.
Yep, so she needed her EpiPen, right? She usually carries her EpiPen everywhere. But there's chocolate cake there at the party. And it has fucking nuts in it, okay? And you saw where that was going. And you're like, oh my God, she's going to go eat the fucking cake.
Fuck!
She's going to go eat the fucking cake. And, shit's going to happen. Well, yeah, she eats the fucking cake. Over time, her throat starts closing up, okay? Peter catches wind of that, is starting to freak out, takes off, leaves, goes in the car, starts driving out, trying to get to a hospital, home, wherever. He's just panicking, right? So while they're driving, Charlie's still having a lot of problems with breathing, right? So she's like, ugh. So she rolls down the window in the back seat, okay? Pops her head out, so she's trying to to get air, okay? As they're driving, there's something in the road that comes. Peter sees it and swerves. As he swerves, there's a light post, okay, that appears. Her head's out. Boom, her head hits the light post and it decaps her, okay? And you're sitting there and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? Kind of a thing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Then come, right? Yeah, that's exactly the right fucking thing, Thomas, because it's like, oh my God, like you're laughing, but you're horrified at the same time.
I'm just like, what in this series? Fuck. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh.
Correct. Here's the worst part though, and this is one thing that this is really fucked with me because I didn't expect this to happen. So her head comes off, and they're very subdued about it. The cinematography is like, okay, her head came off, but you don't get to see that. So you're good. So be disturbed. You're okay. And so we go in, and then what happens now is Peter goes home. Okay, he's in such a state of trauma. He has his dead sister's fucking body in the back, her dead decapitated body in the back seat. Okay, but he does nothing with it. He's driving home in a stupor. Goes in the house, leaves the body in the car, and he goes to bed. Okay? Yeah. And so he's laying in bed, and it shows him just laying there. Okay? And he's just staring. And the morning comes because he hadn't slept all night. And all of a sudden you're hearing, you're hearing the mom get up, get ready for shit, talking to Gabriel Byrne's character, right? And getting up, and all of a sudden, hey, I'll be back. I'm going to go out and get whatever. I think it was stuff for her projects that she does. She has like little painting projects, and like she builds like, faux architecture, like little like examples of stuff, models, like actual models to sell, I guess, to companies and things, right? So goes outside, and he's laying in bed. It cuts back to him, and you see his face, and all of a sudden the mother, she just fucking loses it. Annie, Tony Collette's character, fucking loses it in the car, and you can hear her just, oh my God, just like in absolute grief. And you're seeing him sit there, and his eyes kind of widen, but he's still just so gone that he tells the shock's kind of registering, but he's still trying to like process it. Right at that moment, they cut to fucking Charlie's head, dude. They cut to her head in the fucking street and out on the highway, right? Yep. All just decomposing, just fly ridden, and they just do it. They're just like, boom, here it is. And you're like, oh my God, like they really did that. And it just adds to that, right?
Yeah, the byplay of that horror.
I had to go into that description because you guys just have to know why this movie is so fucked up, but why it's so amazing in its disturbing nature at the same time. right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the way you describe it is just so perfect. Like, I was trying not to go in that direction, and then after I realized you were going to go to spoilers territory, I said, fuck it, let's do it,
man. Yeah, you know,
that whole byplay, just the whole byplay alone of him laying in the bed there, and like us seeing like the camera focus on his face, and you hear it in the background. They use the audio storytelling, and you hear her screaming and her going, "Yeah, my baby!"
That's so fucking
like,
brutal, dude.
Goes into
that
it.
is such a brutal fucking scene.
Seriously. And he's just like, this shock is just settling in his face, and the way the byplay was just perfect. And then like they show her face there, and it was almost like a TV show moment, but not in like the like saying that as a bad thing. It was like a TV show moment, and like I was just riveted. I was like, oh my god, that just happened. They just went there, and then like it just carried on from there, and I was just like, ah,
just like that, actually, right? Yeah. Exactly. Do it again, Thomas. How does it go? That's the thing. That is absolutely the fucking thing. That is very accurate. And then after that, like I said, it's kind of like the dissolution of the family and kind of their breakdown. And then, really quick, dude, we're missing the fucking. Well, you know what? Because I've got Chat Duty on Facebook side, you've got Chat Duty on YouTube side, so I'm the one failing. Okay, we got a simulcast going on, so we're broadening the audience to maintain the love. So Rachel's like, it gets to the horror fast. Yeah, it really fucking does. And it's a good pace. It's not like you're sitting there going, okay, come on, let's see the things happen. Like, it starts happening and you get pulled in immediately. And then she's like, walnuts, I think. So in terms of the allergic reaction that Charlie has, to the stuff. And then Rachel's like, he is totally in shock. So Peter's character, like when that happens, and he's got his decapped dead sister in the back of the car and he's processing that, he's just gone, man. And then she's like super grotesque. Oh yeah. And it gets more grotesque, man. Like as you go. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but when you get into the later scenes. So what happens, guys, ultimately is, so this movie, what's happening is all of these family members are being led to an end result with a cult. And so this cult, they're trying to resurrect a god, basically. And they're trying to do it through the firstborn male in the family, kind of a situation. Yeah. What happened was Charlie was born. So for them, they looked at it as, okay, well, we have Charlie that was born, but then we have Peter that was born thereafter. So Charlie obviously is not a firstborn male. So we're going to go after Peter as the vessel for this god, right? And so the whole movie is this family, and you're watching as they're subtly being driven to the point of like madness and being driven to the point where Peter is going to be open enough through his despair and just through all the shit he deals with and being worn down so much that he's going to be open to having this god be able to enter him, essentially. Yeah. And then that's what it culminates in at the end, guys. And the bad guys win. The bad guys fucking win. And he gets entered by the god, Payman. The god Payman is what it was. One of the gods of hell, or one of the lieutenants of hell, right? Essentially. I'm doing pretty well remembering this shit, I think. So far, anyway.
Yeah, you are. One thing I have to say about the whole thing is, you jumping straight to the end, is that the thing I liked most about the middle of the movie, and this is something that slow burns tend to really struggle with, is the linking of the first and the third act, with the fact that the second act is her going to these meetings with people who are grieving, and she's trying to process it, and she runs into Joan, who she doesn't know is involved with her mom until afterwards, and then she finally finds out that the reason why Joan introduced her to like being able to talk to the dead, like using the glass on the table and then like saying like the spell basically, when she really just thought it was just gibberish. And so saying the spell and then like connecting with her daughter in the afterlife basically and talking to her, like they combined that, they used that as the link, which usually that's a first act type moment, but instead it was a second act type moment. And I really love that because it got us, we got to care about the family. We got to care about, when Charlie dies, we got to care about Peter when he's dealing with, friends at school, the girl he likes. And, at the end of the day, it's, the third act pretty much takes priority. So he spends most of the time at school just dealing with the trauma. And then his friend, he asks his friends to hold his hand when he starts dealing with, shock.
The post-traumatic stress disorder is exactly what it is. Call it PTSD. Yeah. He's fucking dealing with it. You know what I mean?
And so he's in the classroom and his hand shoots up in the air and then he rams his face in the desk and stuff. And I was trying to figure out if he was getting possessed or not, but it seemed kind of weird with that moment.
That was part of so for me, sorry to interrupt you, man, but I was going to say. I think that was part of his evolution into the god, because that's when things are starting to change within his body that he can't control, and moving more toward, okay, Payman's going to start invading you. These are like the final steps to you getting ultimately possessed, you being completely knocked out of your body or removed from your vessel, and Payman entering and inhabiting your body permanently. But like I said, guys, at the end of this movie, the bad guys win. It happens. It's done. It's a very dark ending. But, I mean, as a horror fan, if you're looking for something that is pretty cerebral, smart, well done, well crafted, okay, great character great actor performances, great character development, right? And just really compelling to watch overall, regardless of how disturbing it is to feel compelled like that. I think this movie's totally worth it. And it's, for me personally, because I was excited to do a podcast like this for a while to talk about Hereditary. This is probably one of my favorite movies of last year, horror movies, so if not the best one, period. So
I would say I agree with you. It's one of my favorite ones that came out last year. One of my favorite moments in the entire movie actually is the end scene where he's standing there in the treehouse, and he's standing there and you see like his sister and you see like his dad and you see his mom and stuff, like the beheaded bodies, and he's just standing there. Part of the
cult ritual is what he's saying.
Yeah, there's no dialogue or anything. He's just standing there, and Joan starts talking to him, and she's like, you are Payman, the 8th king of hell, and we bow to your will and stuff like that. And they put like the crown on his head, and he's just standing there in shock, and he's pretty much possessed at that point by Payman. He is
Payman at that point.
And, he is Payman. And so he's, we see like the merging of Payman with Peter Graham, and we see like this very haunting moment of seeing them all bowing to him, and it shows like the caricature on the wall that's supposed to represent Payman, and like it pans out away from there, and all you hear is, and like it's just so haunting the way it ends, and I'm like going, I'm like, oh my god, like they lost, and yet it's the payoff.
The one thing we didn't really speak to, and I think we need to give him some sort of credit, is Gabriel Byrne's character, Steve, the father.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a big role in the movie. Did amazing, though. He's trying to play the part of this father who's just trying to deal with, is my wife actually going fucking insane? Like, are these things actually happening? Is Charlie, is my wife going nuts because, the death of Charlie and her grief is taking her to the point where she can no longer cope and she's breaking? Or is this shit really happening to us? All this occult shit, which toward the end, I think he's just so broken by everything else that's happened to his entire family and the grief. He's just kind of like given up. But even his descent into that and his performances as a support role and kind of, bringing and making you believe that, I'm this guy experiencing all this shit, and, not all of a sudden doing like a 180 or saying, oh, I don't believe anything you're saying, but oh, spirits are real. He pretty much maintains the whole time that my family is going fucking crazy, right? And trying to like bring them back, and just can never do it. Can never do it. Right to his fucking death. Go ahead, Thomas.
When she takes the book and like throws it, because she's begging him to throw in the fire because she believes it's Peter, and the whole time I'm like going, oh shit, Steve's gonna die. And then like because her daughter's drawing all the stuff on the pages, and then she like takes the book and begs him to throw it, and he's like, at first he starts going towards the fireplace, and you think he's gonna do it, and then he's like turns around and is like maintains the belief that this family's just going crazy, and he's just like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And then she just grabs it and goes, no, and then throws it. And then like the thing goes into the fireplace, and right at that moment, Steve just bursts into flame, and then suddenly you're just like, oh, fuck.
To give that some context for you guys, and a lot of it we're just going to assume a lot of the viewers have seen the movie already, right? But for those who haven't, so what happens is this book that we're talking about, and at some point just becomes tied to her, kind of a thing. Yeah. So what happens is so what happens is she tries to take this fucking book because it's just she's starting to realize the occult elements that are happening. So she wants to destroy this fucking book, right? So she goes to destroy the book, throw it in the fire, and she starts to catch fire. And so she's like, oh shit, well, I'm kind of tied to this in a supernatural way. So then she decides, oh, okay, well, I'm going to have somebody else burn it for me, because I think she was thinking, if I throw it in, I'm going to burn. If I don't throw it in, I'll be fine. So if somebody else throws it in, I'll be good. So, but what happens is she asks Gabriel Byrne's character to throw the fucking thing in the fire. Okay. But he's not going to do it. He's like, I keep doing this, and what this is doing is like, basically encouraging you, it's enabling this madness that you're dealing with, this grief. I'm not going to do it. And so there's a struggle at the end, toward the end of the movie, where she's begging him to throw the book in the fire just to help. And so he finally just says, fuck it. And they go to throw the book in the fire, and he catches fire, and he burns alive, is how that ends. So his character dies tragically by trying to help his family and save them throughout this entire thing, and ultimately just losing the war, losing the battle for their souls.
Yep.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, this whole movie was just one big fucking loss for that family, and I identified with the tragedy mostly because of my own personal losses, but like without my tragedy, like you would be solidly sucked into this movie. And really, if you're wanting to experience like, you know, supernatural horror, you get payoff. By the time you get to the last 20 minutes of the movie, it is massive payoff to the point where like Peter starts getting out of the bed because he's, you know, wakes up and he doesn't know that everything just happened, and he wakes up and you see like the person running down the wall, and like it's his, I think that's
some creepy shit, dude. That starts
runs across the wall.
The and she's like
downstairs.
fucking, and she's like fucking taking like what is it, dude? Like wire or cable. And when she's possessed and shit, and she's like up floating in the air, and she's got this cable, and she's like fucking grinding the cable on her neck and like cutting through her fucking neck to decapitate herself, dude. And her face is like this. Like, I'm trying to do it as best as I can, but she probably does it way better because she's an actress and she's a master actress. But fucking blood. Dude, it's like, oh my God. So like fuck. You know what I mean?
She has like this very impassive, very almost expressionless, but yet defeated look on her face where she's just all like,
oh, totally. Just like it's happening, I accept it.
And like it's piano wire, and she's just ripping into her thing, and she's floating up in the air.
Yeah, man.
And Peter's just in the attic, just looking around at everything for the first time, going, "What the fuck is my family involved in?"
And then he started to realize, Go ahead,
he sees like the symbol on the wall. He sees the candles all lit in the corner. He sees the little ritualistic circle that was, you know, built where his grandmother's body was. Yeah. And like he's just looking around. He sees like the insects flying in the sky, in the air, and around him.
The fucked up stuff that's happening.
And he's just looking around, going. And you see like the look on his face. He's just like surrendering. He's like, "We're fucked." Like he's just looking around going, "Oh my God."
Not to go ahead, man. Finish it up. Yeah. Because we're a half hour. We're like over the half hour mark.
Oh,
we want to talk about Midsommar. But what were you gonna say? Like at the very end, because Peter's like he's realizing we're fucked. You know
he's he's realizing we're fucked, and he's just like going, you know, I almost thought he was thinking in his head like, I really could use a blunt right now, but like
I bet he was too, actually. That's
he
a
was
really
just
good point.
going, "Mom, Dad," and like at that point he sees Mom in the air, and he's like, "Wait a minute, Dad's burned on the ground, Mom's up in the sky, I'm gonna die."
He's fucked. Yeah, and then and he is fucked, and they're all fucked, and that's what happens. But in summary, guys, excellent movie. Check it out definitely if you get the opportunity. One of the best horror films, if not the best of last year. We're gonna be moving into it now. Let's just switch gears really quick because I want to cover it too. Midsommar. So this movie, also by Ari Aster, excellent cast again, do a great job. This one is a pretty big contrast to the other one. Let's let the trailer speak for itself. I'll fucking kick it in, and then we'll just start going into it for the remaining portion of the fucking episode. So let's do it, dude. You ready to go? You ready to do this?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's fucking do this. Okay. Here we go. Oh, give it again, baby. How's it go again?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. That's right. Even with the tongues and everything for all of you, because he likes to. He's still going. This is fucking great right now. All right. Enough of these fucking shenanigans. We're watching it. Here goes.
I told you that I want to go to that festival in Sweden.
No, you said it would be cool to go.
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity and I decided to do it.
I don't mind you going. I just wish you would have told me. That's all.
Dude, she needs a therapist. You've been wanting out of this stupid relationship for like a year now.
And don't forget about all of the beautiful Swedish women you'll meet in June.
Okay, guys.
That's not her again. Seriously?
Babe, what's happening? Danny.
I was so very sorry to hear about what happened.
I'm sorry.
I invited Danny to come to Sweden. You know what she's been going through.
Christian says you've got this special week planned.
It's sort of a crazy festival. Special ceremonies and dressing up.
That sounds fun.
Unbelievable.
Welcome and happy Midsommar. Skål!
What time is it?
9 p.m.
That can't be right. The sky is blue.
This is what 9 p.m. is like here.
How long have you two been together?
Just over 3.5 years.
4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's like another world.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Is it scary?
What is it?
It has special properties.
What am I going through?
We just need to acclimate.
I don't want to acclimate. I want to go.
Absolutely not.
What's happening? I don't know why you invited us.
That's why you look so guilty right now, because you know.
We only do this every 90 years. I was most excited for you to come.
All right, guys. So Midsommar, also directed by Ari Aster. This one stars, I hope I say it right, Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner, Wilhelm Blomgren. Okay. Another excellent cast for this one. This is a really stark contrast to Hereditary, right? So it's kind of like everybody was like, this is the follow-up to Hereditary. So a lot of people were probably thinking, we're going to see like almost like a sequel. Not at all. This is a completely different movie. Still disturbing as fuck, and almost all the scenes for this entire movie take place in daylight, and they still pull off fucking with you the whole time, essentially. So this one has to do with when it opens up, you get Hereditary vibes. So it's basically a girl is out of the house. She goes home, and then she realizes that some family member, there was a sister, I think it was the sister, if I can remember right. So it's been a little bit for me, but the sister, really suicidal, really disturbed, okay, sinks up car exhaust to the entire house, okay, sinks it up, fucking feeds it through the house and kills all the family, basically. And then the main character here, Florence Pugh, Florence Pugh playing Danny, because I'm terrible with names, so I'm going to cheat. She goes into the house and finds all of her fucking family dead, dude, like everybody. And so she's dealing with that trauma, which is kind of like the Ari Aster signature kind of trauma that gets put in there, that disturbing shit that just opens you up so that you're going to be more disturbed when this shit happens later. And so what happens after that is she decides, we're going to go with my boyfriend and friends and blah, blah, blah. And go to this place, far remote place, different country. I think it was fucking, well, God, I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to say Denmark because I know it's not fucking Denmark. It's like fucking Sweden. Oh my God, damn.
I'm gonna Helsingland.
That's what it is. Totally. I was testing you guys and you passed. Good job. Excellent. Right on. Yeah, thanks, Thomas. That saved my fucking ass there, dude. Absolutely. God, I love you so much. That's why I have him as a fucking co-host. He's like, John's failing. He's typing and shit, and it's like, okay, you good? Yeah, I'm good now. Thanks, buddy.
You're
that
welcome.
Place that he's talking about. Okay, so that's why it's good to cheat, man. You start fucking freaking out or losing it, you can fucking come back from it. Or you have fucking people to help you, right? Here's a life preserver,
Exactly.
motherfucker. Here you go. But they go to this place, really remote, and it almost kind of looks like a Woodstock kind of an environment. It's a Woodstock environment filled with a lot of LSD and a lot of surreal imagery, and pretty much it's almost kind of like a parallel to Hereditary. It's like the breakdown of these friendships that are happening, and just the things that are happening to these characters as they're dying slowly and basically dying and being put toward as sacrifices for another occult, ritualistic, fucked up outcome is the best way to put that. Okay. This one, because I can talk through things like in Hereditary, this one goes really abstract and it just gets really fucking weird. Prime example, I'll just kind of cut to it. Very end of the movie, dude is drugged up on LSD. Okay. On LSD, they've like cut his fucking arms and legs off and they've put him inside of the carcass of a dead bear, and they put him inside of a building, and they set the building on fire. And then when they set the building on fire, he's to burn alive, and he is to be the sacrifice for this god, which at the end you realize, I think, because it's open to interpretation, another god, like kind of in the Ari Aster universe, but it's to like, like to give them prosperity with crops and things like that. Cause they're very like, they're very rustic and like kind of like farm oriented kind of people. You know what I mean? But the entire movie has scenes like what I just described where you're just like, what the fuck am I watching? Kind of a thing. Yeah, I actually went with a buddy, Brock Rubino. Again, he's Prodin, aka Prodin Wrath, League of Legends Beast Mode Masterman. He's pretty much a pro player. I'm just gonna go there. I'm gonna call him that because he's amazing anyway. Even if he's not a pro player, he's a pro player in my eyes. Part of Rated R Esports, and yeah, I'm plugging the shit out of him right now. He's gonna hate it. He's gonna get fucking mad at me. That's okay though, because I am. But he watched it with me, and he actually really appreciated it. And the big thing that he called out was, he's like, this imagery, dude, it's really crazy. Because you know how in Hereditary, Thomas, they had the sound thing, this like in the undertones kind of a thing that fucked you up. This one, what they do is they take a lot of subtlety in terms of the visuals. So like before the LSD, everything's really crisp and clear and daylight and just stark. And then what happens is they get fed LSD when they get there, like immediately get fed LSD. And everybody's like, oh, okay, let's take LSD. Yeah, that'll help chill us out. And it's like this really communal environment. Great, we love it. And they take it, and from there on in the entire movie, everything that you see down to like flowers or trees, they're like pulsating and they're moving. Like it's this overlay that was done throughout the entire movie after that, where you're like, did I just fucking see that glass like fucking breathing? Kind of environment. So visually, visual tour de force as it relates to just almost creating this art form out of the cinematography. Overall, as you're watching the movie, I was really blown away by that when you really pointed out, because it's that subtle. But then when you're like looking at everything, you're like, oh shit, dude, was that tree doing the thing? And it makes you want to watch it again. So you can go in and like pick up on all of that stuff. So repeat viewings only for the sensory overload of like what you're seeing once they're on the LSD. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one of the things I love most about Ari Aster's directing, and I just barely realized who he was, noticed that he existed, is that camera angles. One of the things that I love most about his film on Hereditary and that I've seen of scenes of Midsommar was the camera angles. Like a lot of the camera angles, especially when people are, dealing with traumatic events or whenever they're on LSD or any kind of drug or anything like that, is it's kind of like a point of view shot without it being a point of view shot. Like he does like this thing with the landscape shots and with like some of the transitions, like when in Hereditary when she's walking down a hallway, the camera starts like she's walking on the other side of the camera, but really she's going down a hallway this way,
like really interesting,
straight ahead. And like it just kind of pans over her head, and suddenly you're back in her perspective. Like the way that the camera angles work and the way his scene delivery is just insane. And
he brings that too. He brings that to Midsommar. Like he does that same kind of stuff, but then he adds that extra layer of surrealism with and I kind of put you in that position of like, God, that's got to be what it fucking feels like to experience that, just how crazy it would be. And then the other thing too, based on the region that they're in, it's like daylight almost 24 hours a day. So like they make the comment, you guys saw it in the trailer, where he's like, what time is it? And he's like, it's 9 p.m. He's like, how the fuck is that even possible? It's because of the region that they're in the world, right? Which makes it even more insane for them being on LSD, completely disoriented in terms of time, and then just getting slowly worn down by this community. This, essentially, you could call it a cult community, trying to bring them toward being all the friends and everything, being sacrifices for this new god, or this other influence that they're trying to appease, kind of a thing, right? And then really quick, because we're getting sound offs on my side. I'm failing again for us, Thomas. Rachel's like, what in the fuck? What period in period, as an example, right? So yeah, she did it. She's like, back to I think the beginning. I mean, you can be suicidal, but you don't have to be homicidal too. So in the sense that the main character's sister was in the house, fired it all, with the fumes and stuff, lit the whole or fucking threw it through the whole house and just basically killed everyone with carbon monoxide. Yeah, you don't got to go there, man. Like don't ever do it, guys. But if we're talking about from a cinema perspective and like a story plot, God, you didn't have to kill the whole fucking family. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, I have a call out on this side.
I've
got a Benny Ford who says, when a camera flips, when Annie figures out what's been going on, and the Americans when their world flips.
Oh, there you go. That's a great call out actually to Benny. Well played, buddy. Absolutely. No, appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, the Midsommar stuff, dude, like the camera work and stuff, it's just as good as it was in Hereditary. But the fact that he added those more, it's a really colorful film. That's a way that I think that's the best way to try to describe the shit, dude, because it's hard to describe the actual content aside from, in this case, generally how I did. You know, cult community, Woodstockish. They feed you LSD. They do all kinds of crazy shit to you, and everybody's not happy again. It's a sad ending, right? But it's so bright and so colorful and just so artistically bombastic. You're like, oh fuck, dude, that's a beautiful fucking scene. Oh my god, damn, right? But then when you start having the horror come in, like when they actually do some of the sacrifices, so there's this mountain area. Okay, I'll give it to you. It's not going to spoil the whole movie. It's kind of like a scene where there's some grotesque shit happening, but it's just a component. Okay, so they're on top of the thing, and the older people in the community, like the seniors, they usually have them act as sacrifices. This shit only happens like once, I think, in the thing it said every 80 or 90 years kind of a deal.
Yeah, 90 years.
90 years, right? Yeah, so they go to the top and, they've volunteered to become the sacrifice. So they'll go to the top of the thing and they'll just fall off and then bam, they'll hit. And when that fucking happens, the practical effects they put in there, it's the gooey chunkies. But when you take that and you contrast that against the beauty of that environment, right? Lush green grass and fucking flowers and just daylight, bright, just like stark. When that shit happens, it's like, whoa, because the colors really stand out. You're not getting a lot of reds all the time and chunkies. You're getting like purples and yellows and pretty shit. Yeah. Boom, they hit you with the pesquetios, my signature term. You're welcome. And they hit you with the pesquetios, dude, it like really fucking hits. That compounded upon by the fucking weird surrealistic imagery that they put in and like the effects on all the different objects and stuff in the movie, right? But on top of that, yeah, they fall off and then they come up to finish the job because they're still alive with like broken fucking hyperextended limbs and bones sticking out, compound fractures from the fall. They come up and they start fucking bashing in their heads with like I think it was a hammer. So, right? Kind of thing. You like that? You ready? There's the sound for you, right? You're seeing that stuff and you're like, oh my god, there was all this beauty, but then oh fuck, like I don't want to see that, but I do because I love horror because I'm fucking twisted and everybody else is watching it with me doing the same thing. But yeah,
I have a call out.
Call it out, baby.
Call it. Ford,
I do too, actually. I got a call out too. Yeah, do it, man.
I believe Midsommar is based on the 7 stages of grieving a relationship tied into education and psychology.
That's a great fucking comment, actually, and insightful. Thank you for that. Absolutely. That was Benny again?
Yeah, that was Benny.
Yeah, because Thomas has chat duty on YouTube side. I have chat duty on Facebook side, like I was saying, guys, because we're doing simulcasts. That's an awesome fucking call out right there. Thanks for that, man. Absolutely. Great one. On my side of things, Rachel was like, and what the fuck was about the trailer? She's like, Jesus. And she's like, Rachel's like, that's a cool storytelling aspect, and I didn't mean suicide is okay thing. Of course, we knew that. She's like, but I definitely didn't think it should involve innocent bystanders. Exactly, right? She's like, but the cult, let's see, she says, she has a big long one. She says, but the cult shit freaks me out, whether it was horror. Oh my God, there's even more. Whether it was horror or not. Yeah, the cult stuff is crazy, right? It's definitely crazy in this movie. But yeah.
I saw that someone got stuffed into a disemboweled bear. Let's hear about that.
Yeah, that was the bear thing. That's what I was. Okay. Remember what I was talking about before? Yeah. He's limbless and fucking all drugged up, and they throw him in the carcass of a dead bear, and they put him in there and they burn him, and that's that. I mean, makes sense, right? Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's called sarcasm, guys. It's like, what the fuck were you fucking? What is it? What am I watching in this shit? Kind of thing. Like that's what it feels like a lot of the movie. Okay. One thing I will say for runtime is I felt that Hereditary. This is really the only criticism I have too for Midsommar. The runtime, Hereditary always felt pretty well paced, pretty balanced. Because right as you were starting to feel like maybe, I wonder what's going to happen next, it hits you again. And they're like, yeah, we'll take you right to the brink of that, and then you're going to get fucked up. We're gonna really mess with you in Hereditary, right? Midsommar is much more of a slow burn, and it's really, I think you have to kind of enter that movie as an experience more than, a 1, 2, 3 act structure, as you like to kind of point out, Thomas. It's like, just go along for the ride, guys. Enjoy the visuals, take it all in, and embrace the weirdness, and you'll enjoy this movie. If you're looking for like a very regimented 1, 2, 3 act structure, and you're like, I want that, and I want it to be well paced and just be as nuts as Hereditary. It's as nuts as Hereditary, but in a very different way. So prepare yourself for that. It felt a bit drawn out, honestly, is ultimately what I'm arriving at, trying to circle back. I was kind of like, oh man, okay, I was almost getting to that, are we done yet? But it's not because I was really bored. It was just like, oh man, this is already fucking me up enough with all the weird imagery that's going on. So are we like, let's tie it up, kind of a feeling. Yeah.
I kind of feel like Hereditary is one movie that I would say I feel like there's not much I would have changed about it. Like it's
that's how I feel.
So well done. Like with the way that we learn about the family, the way we see her learning about her mom's involvement, which came as a complete surprise to her, and then like the way that everything downgraded. I would say that the shock moments are perfect. The soundtrack is amazing. Definitely. And the way everything panned out is perfect. I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. In fact, probably a 10. Like
you fucker. I wasn't even going to try to review this one. God damn it. You went there. Had to put a number on the fucking thing. Well, we always go high end though. We always kind of just like fucking, gush over
shoot
movies.
High.
We've done like, oh, I didn't really like this movie so much, so I'll say fucking 9.1. Like we've done that before. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In this case, I agree with Thomas. I could go that high. I don't ever really classify any movie as perfect. I'm not really into the whole notion of, oh, okay, so a movie, this got a 10. For me, a 10's just got to be so stellar and almost, it's got to be perfect, right? And what does that mean for a movie? Like, what is that? Like perfect runtime? How do you gauge that? And I guess in all fairness, trying to review something overall, why is there a review system? I don't think it's a perfect film. Because I don't want to digress, try to go into a big rant about the fucking review system. Yeah, if I were to try to put a number on it, it would be high 9s. It would. That's how good Hereditary is. Midsommar, just because of how like it felt drawn out to me, I'd give it like a 7.5, right? Again, these are just numbers we're fucking throwing out there, right? So yeah, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as his follow-up his follow-up movie for Ari Aster. Wasn't as strong as Hereditary, but it was still enjoyable as part of like, kind of a continuation of what may be the same universe. Maybe they tie in those dark gods later or something, but we'll have to wait and see. I
kind of want to do like a part 2 of this Midsommar thing, like when I actually be able to see it, and that way I can give more of like a focused perspective from my perspective on Midsommar. So I kind of want to do another one of these things with Midsommar later on, so that I can give my take on it.
Well, Thomas, we're always fluid. We can always go back and look at the shit and try to do the shit, or try to recap and see what happens with it, right? So, so at this point, guys, we're pretty much coming up on time. So what I'll probably do, we're going to close it out for this episode. As we always like to say, Thomas and I, we love all of you. We love all of you for coming in and attending and participating. Yeah, go for it, Thomas. Show the love, baby. Show it.
We love you all.
We love you so fucking much. It just gushes, and that's very serious for YouTube side and Facebook side. And I was going to say, yeah. Oh, no. Bust it, baby. Bust it. Oh, look at that, dude. It's the Grim Reaper with fucking beer. What does it say? Relax. I'm here for the beer. Yeah, baby. All right, baby. All right, let's see. Can I do it on my side? Can I pull it off without fucking everything up? I'm in like green screen heaven here, so can you guys see it? Like fucking Jason fucking Voorhees. I'm gonna go off the screen for a minute, and you guys will probably partially see it. Do you see him? He's looking at you like, "What's up? You want to go on a date?
I do see it.
You want to fucking love some of the dates and shit? Because I'll take you out on the dates, and then I'll fucking chop you up in little pieces." That's what he's thinking. Ooh, yeah, right, baby. All right, yeah, we're fucking doing the shenanigans again, and it's magnificent because we love doing that. We digress yet again. We love all of you so much, guys. Thank you very much for attending. In closing, if you like the content you've seen here, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Cinema Macabre. Facebook side, I have the entertainment page, The Cinema Macabre also. You just search for that. And if you want to throw me a follow, that would be great on that one. I have a lot of content that comes out with that. As again, these are simulcasts. We've started to do that. That way we get the exposure for both mediums, right? Both platforms. And yeah, hope everyone has a great weekend. We love you all. As we say, do it again. Give him a little gush. Meow. He's such a love. Oh, there's the kitty cat. He does that sometimes. He's a quirky little fucking guy. I love Thomas. Such a weirdo. We love you so much, baby. All right, so
Johnny boy.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, sweetie. Oh, again, look at his. Here, let's do this. His cat ears and stuff. Look at that. Just so it's for posterity. Look at him. Just take it in. And he's got his little fucking wreath band like for Midsommar. Even though he hasn't seen it, he was just doing it. He was representing. Oh, he's got a fucking kitty cat. My cat's sleeping, or I'd show you guys. I absolutely fucking would. That's an adorable cat, dude. That is an adorable fucking animal. My animal's adorable too, but he's a lazy fuck, and I'm not going to pick him up because that'll be a whole new can of worms for me, especially right now in the middle of this, right? So,
yep.
Right on. Well, you keep giving your kitty loves, Thomas. We'll close it out. Love all of you guys. Have a great one. And yeah, we'll have some new content coming for you here in the foreseeable future pretty soon. We try to do it as a weekly basis, like every Saturday. We will try to maintain consistency for you because we love bringing this shit to you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Thomas in closing with Kitty Cat. See you guys. Have a good one.
I'm going to give the people what they want. Sensation, horror, shock. Send them out in the streets to tell their friends how wonderful it is to be scared to death.